Hi friends, welcome back to Embryo Quality Secrets. If you've ever stared at your embryo report wondering what on earth 5AA or 3BB means, you're not alone. Clinics hand over these numbers and letters as if they're the crystal ball of IVF. But the truth is, they're just one piece of the puzzle. Today, I'll explain what embryo grading actually tells us and why it doesn't guarantee pregnancy. By the end, you'll know the factors that really drive success so you can feel more confident on your journey. Let's start with the basics. Embryos are usually graded on day 3 or day 5 of development. Most clinics use the blastocyst grading system for day 5 and beyond. Here's how it works. The first number, like the 5 and 5 AA, refers to how expanded the blastocyst is. A 5 means it's fully expanded. A 6 means it's hatching, while lower numbers mean earlier stages. The first letter, the A, refers to the quality of the inner cell mass, which is the group of cells that would eventually form the baby. The second letter, the second EIE, refers to the trophectoderm, which becomes the placenta. So a 5AA sounds like the gold standard. But here's the catch. Grading only reflects how an embryo looks under a microscope in that moment. It does not reveal its genetics, its ability to implant, or whether it will grow into a healthy baby. Here's something most people don't hear. Embryo grading is subjective. Different embryologists may grade slightly differently. Even the same embryo can look a little different an hour later. And most importantly, even the best-looking embryo may still carry genetic issues. On the other hand, a lower-graded embryo, like A03BC, has absolutely resulted in healthy babies. In fact, many parents today were born from embryos that would have been considered poor quality by current standards. So while grading is useful for embryologists to prioritize embryos, it is not a fortune teller for your cycle. So if embryo grades don't hold all the answers, what does? Let's talk about the factors that really matter. Embryo genetics. This is the biggest predictor. Embryos with the right number of chromosomes euploid embryos have the highest chance of implanting regardless of grade. Age of the egg provider. Age is directly linked to the percentage of embryos that are chromosomally normal. That's why embryo quality conversations are often tied to age. Uterine environment. A receptive endometrium is critical. Even a chromosomally normal embryo won't implant if the timing is off. Lab conditions and clinic protocols, the skill of the embryology team, culture media, and transfer technique all contribute to success rates. When you put this all together, it's clear that a report card like 5AA is only one piece of a much bigger picture. Here's the hopeful part. Lower-graded embryos can and do make babies. I've seen many stories where families achieve success from embryos that weren't graded top quality. Why? Because if that embryo was genetically normal and transferred into a receptive uterus, it had everything it needed to succeed. This is why doctors will often keep and transfer embryos that aren't perfect. Science shows us that morphology, the way an embryo looks, does not always match its true potential. So what can you do with this information? Next time you're reviewing embryo reports, here are some empowering questions to ask your clinic. How much weight do you place on embryo grading versus other factors? Do you recommend genetic testing, and why or why not in my case? What is your clinic's success rate with different embryo grades? Remember, the goal isn't to chase a perfect grade. It's to understand the whole picture of embryo health and implantation. I hope this helped clear up the mystery of embryo grading. If it did, please like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone else going through IVF who needs reassurance. And in the comments, tell me, what grade embryo did you have and what did your clinic say about it? Let's support each other with real stories. You are more than a number, and so is your embryo.